Hello, my name is Alexander Morari, and I'm the founder of ITKeyMedia. This is our podcast about Central Eastern European startups that are in pre-Series A. Our guest today is Martin Kalamees, the co-founder of Werk, as you can see on his company sweater, blouse. This is so the Werk itself, this is a marketplace for construction labor force that matches workers internationally to any country, all while automating paperwork and HR. Tere hommikust, Martin.
Tere õhtust just juba. Nice to be here.
Tere, almost like my survival Estonian. To survive properly speaking, I need to know how to say one beer, please, in Estonian. How would you say this?
Kolm õlu, palun.
Tere hommikust, kolm õlu, palun. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
I will survive. Yeah. Look, as a warm-up, HR and labor force is a challenge, I would say, for many verticals, including construction, this we will discuss, including retail, including hospitality, where in some countries hospitality is picking up already. And I know, for example, in Portugal, one of the main, top 5 hotel chains are actually looking for up to 15,000 people to hire for their needs already programmed for the year to come. 15,000, one country alone. This is like off the top of my head. So while we will focus on construction workers, trades people, marketplace, let's make a step forward. Are you planning to enter any other verticals as well?
We don't know yet where this road is going to take us, but today our core focus is on this vertical and building out the entire vertical. A large reason is that in this industry, you mostly have access to horizontal solutions, and it's one of those industries where you need an actually vertical solution that takes care of the entire journey.
Okay. For those who are not fluent in this, could you define what's the horizontal solution, what's the vertical solution for your niche, which is construction labor force and construction job marketplace?
Yeah, using solutions like deal or remote or localize don't work in this industry, but for vertical, we mean the entire chain of finding the worker, vetting the worker, relocating the worker, financing the travel, payroll, everything that is necessary for the worker to basically cross borders and work legally in another country.
Okay, clear. So let's jump into round one, the solution itself. In your case, a marketplace. How would you describe your company in a future Wikipedia article? First paragraph.
Global blue-collar migration hub.
Oh, wow, cool. With a focus on construction.
Today, with a focus on construction, yeah. Like I said, we don't know where it's going to take us, because if we solve it here and we solve it good, we're going to be able to take it to other blue-collar industries as well. But this decision to do it or not to do it, we cannot make today, obviously. We don't know.
Oh, at least you're honest and, not to announce only like focus on forever and for eternity on construction market. This is interesting, because I think as soon as you crack this nut, and it works really well in cross-border kind of environment and so on, then all the other, shall we call them mass recruitment context or business context, could be open for innovation as well and disruption. By mass recruitment, I mean sometimes, for example, this is a construction site, you might need 50, 100 people for one specific role alone, and then same number for another role. So that's why it's called very often mass recruitment as well, right? But who is your key client? The trades people or the construction companies themselves, or both?
So as a marketplace, we got the supply and demand. Supply is the workers, and demand is the construction companies who need to hire the workers. For us specifically, we are targeting from the company side, not the general contractors, but the subcontractors who specialize in a certain field and who manage and hire the workers. So whether they're electrical works, steel fixing, painting, those are our customers today. So SMBs, up to 95% or around 95% in Europe, these are 1 to 10 person companies. So it's very small companies. And from the worker side, we are focusing on the migration aspect. So it's workers from Eastern Europe. But actually even more today. It's also workers from Philippines and India that we are working with today. So we started with Eastern European focus, but we know that this movement is already global, and we will eventually end up covering it all.
Mm-hmm. So it's easy to foresee the process, how the marketplace works. I understand. On the one hand, you are asking people to fill their account with the information, right? And they're creating this supply kind of site, right? So I have 5 years as a, how to say, enforced armor kind of engineer or site operative or whatever. This is what I can do. And on the other hand, companies are formulating, defining their demand. And when there is a click, there's a click, right? And they can interact somehow between themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what's the current status of the marketplace itself? How many people you have on the supply side? How many tradespeople you have registered right now?
So we got over 1,000 people on the supply side, registered workers, vetted workers, and these are workers all over Eastern Europe and Asia. So markets like Ukraine, Poland, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, Azerbaijan, Georgia, and now even India and Philippines. So there's a lot of markets. We're not focusing on all of those yet, but we are also not closing it to all the workers. I can come back to that later. Mm-hmm. Why? And but on the company side as well, we are not focusing on Eastern European markets. We are focusing on markets that are more well developed, where there's less gray economy, higher regulatory requirements, and higher salaries. Yeah. So these are Scandinavian markets, Germany, UK, and so on.
How many placements, can I say, have you made by now as well? Like how many people found the job and they actually got relocated from, ideally, how many people were relocated and hired and placed by the marketplace across border?
So let's put it this way, without going too much into numbers. Today it's less than 100, but we have relocated people from 5 different supply markets to 4 different demand markets. So this should basically indicate the phase we are in. We are testing as many markets as we can to understand what is expected when we want to scale this product, so that we don't build today for Estonia or build specifically for Finland, but that we build something that can be scaled across entire Europe and then broader. So we are discovering these differences early on and not rushing into any single before we have this data.
You mentioned a couple of times that your candidates, let's say, have been vetted somehow. How do you vet? Because usually this is the biggest hassle, right, in recruiting business, to properly understand the quality, let's say, of experience, skill sets, language skills, and so on and so on. I mean, come on, language skills is the easiest part, probably. How can you make sure that your candidate is really a good drywall installer, plasterer, tiler, floor installer, and so on? Screen-to-screen communication is fine, but then how would you be able to check whether or not they can actually do this with their own hands?
Yeah, so there's 3 things here. One is language. The companies don't often speak the workers' language. They have people on site who do. So we have the language, which is Russian. That's why we focus on Eastern European and this Russian-speaking segment. The companies have adapted to this language and have hired the relevant people on sites to manage it. The second thing, maybe to go a bit in the beginning, is that since we have a huge problem to tackle, we're trying to outsource as much and not focus on everything, de-scope. And for us, de-scoping also means that we don't look for the workers ourselves. We have a network of recruitment partners in the markets that we operate in, the supply markets, who we subsidize the take rate, and they recruit workers for us. So they are, for example, located either in Poland, in Uzbekistan, or in Philippines. And what that allows us to do is outsource all the finding the worker activities, but also the initial vetting and document gathering in that worker market. So basically setting the basis for the regulatory issue, which is the visas and all the paperwork. And then the third thing is that we actually, since we knew we were in construction already 2 years ago, we hired the right people. Beginning 2 years ago, we hired Erko, our head of vetting, who was one of the largest subcontracting companies here in Estonia, managing hundreds of workers, and basically he's been building it into a vetting product. And later on this year, actually, we hired our first employee from Finland, our country manager, who owned her own steel fixing company, which she exited, and then joined one of the largest painting and plastering companies in Finland, where she was responsible for hundreds of recruitments, even 1,000 recruitments from abroad, migrant workers dealing with paperwork recruitment partners. We basically hired this knowledge in-house, and we are productizing it. And this is the last step, which is the product itself. We are creating sort of like a fictional bottleneck for the candidates as well, that we don't have to interview 100 candidates. We have a first phase of tests that they have to fill, which we get results based on, and funnel out the best. And then we have a second stage today where the vetting team, the support team, is conducting the vetting based on the process that we worked out. So this is how we're basically able to ensure higher quality and preciseness. We often even sell it. We vet the people as well as if you did it yourself. So this is how the process looks today. And as we go forward, we intend to productize the entire part of it.
Yeah, so you mentioned head of vetting, which is, in fact, I understand this is Erko, right? Sadia Yuk. Yeah, and you call this position head of matchmaking. That's interesting. And the head of Finland, I understand this is Tanja Karronen, yeah? Is this one? And I understand also you're now expanding actively to other markets, and you're looking for head of Deutschland, head of Germany, country manager for Germany. What, in a nutshell, who would be good candidate for head of Germany?
Tanja, our Finnish hire. We need somebody.
You cannot clone her. You cannot clone her, or maybe that will be a different business if you could.
We're not in that business, but we can replicate the process we did to find her, which is talking to customers, which is basically talking to customers and finding the right profile. This is traditional sector. You need somebody who's been in it, who's managed workers, who's managed recruitment partners, who knows how construction works, and who's a native German speaker. That's key as well. In our industry, you need to speak the local language we're selling with. That's like the basic. So we're recruiting for the German country manager. We already found an analyst who's helping with the market entry, and we have found some first customers as well. So we are aggressively looking to enter the German market, and we'll be doing so the next couple of months.
Oh, I would say construction business, especially contractors, subcontractors, I should say, are not hard to find. Not hard to find clients. It's the workforce. That's the key problem there. Yeah,
for us as well, the focus. So for the past 4 months, even longer, has been workers. How do we get enough workers on board? So as a supply that we can offer to potential demand who we sell to. How can we retain the supply? Which channels we look for the supply in? The recruitment partners, how can we vet them? How many of them are actually able to provide us vetted supply? So this has been our main focus till today. And we can return to the product maybe of the community a bit later, but we are actually building a community on the side for the workers. So we don't always have a job for any particular worker that might match the skills or the trade in the first place, but we redirect them to our community. So I can return to that.
Expand. No. Expand right now. So you're not only placing candidates or finding jobs for them in a foreign market, I understand, if they are in an Eastern European, let's say, supply market or donor market, let's call it this way. But then what about communities? What do you mean by that? Like you put together people of the same language, right? I understand. So that they help each other with maybe finding accommodations to live together and save some money on that and so on and so on. Oh, okay, interesting. It's like kind of a concierge kind of, right?
Yeah, this is a massively fragmented market. The workers, first of all, don't have access to the jobs. They don't have access to the trust towards the employers. And what we do is we connect the workers who want to work abroad with the workers who are already there. They often come from their own culture space, their own country, and they share the same problems, issues, and challenges. So this is the best people to basically give them this type of feedback. And then we intend to build it more towards like a Glassdoor feature to give the workers actually tools of trust, basically, as well. But not only, it's also for upscaling. It's for connecting workers to crews to apply together. So something interesting that came up when building the community and talking to the workers is that a lot of the workers have either been in crews or still in crews of 6 to 10 people, or no, just other construction workers, tens of them. And these workers are often scattered around like entire Europe and Asia. So what we intend to do with this community is put them in touch with each other and also access these clusters of networks of the workers. So yes, today we are relying on these recruitment partners and subsidizing take rates, but as this community grows, as we get access to the larger pool of workers and their networks, we intend to get the worker CAC down as well by a lot. And what's really interesting is that a lot of the workers who are not fitting for any particular job, for example, they lack the language or they lack the blueprint reading, but they can still, tie the arm together. They are not suitable for their job today, but if you match them with a crew leader who possesses those skills, they suddenly become unlocked for that particular job. So through this community in the future, we're going to be unlocking supply that so far has not been suitable for a job as well, which is really exciting because so far all of this type of crew forming and everything has been happening offline in small circles in the WhatsApp groups, Viber groups, and basically personal networks of the workers. So we're really about opening up this networks of workers through the community.
Good. Questions on several dimensions. First, your supply, or let's say recruitment side, right? You work with local recruiters and companies that have been active in temporary recruitment, I understand, like seasonal construction based and so on and so on. Now, what's their interest to provide candidates to you and actually lose them because candidates will like you more than interaction with those companies because you provide safer jobs in more interesting markets and so on. Okay, so imagine I'm in the I'm let's say Ukrainian recruitment company and I have a database of 2,000 blue collar construction workers and so on and so on. How do you motivate me to work with you?
So it doesn't matter to them if we pay them or the company pays them. They earn money. It's not like they're earning continuous money off the worker. We're not working with the employer of record or the payroll companies. We're working with the recruiters. So these are this is the dominant force in this space we're in. They are very often traditional offline agencies doing everything but pen, paper, email. So all of these finding workers, vetting them and relocating them. And they are very often focused on a single market symbiosis. So Ukraine to Poland or Uzbekistan to Finland and so on. So our like value here is really connecting or getting access to as many of those as possible so that we can leverage the large volumes, so to say. We don't necessarily find the worker maybe from Uzbekistan, but since we have partners also in Kazakhstan and Ukraine, we're going to find a total of required workers from those markets together. And this allows us to provide quantity, quality, and speed that often the agencies on like solo level cannot do, basically.
Okay, then straightforward question: are you paying recruitment companies to provide to provide workers for the marketplace? Because then it's the tradesman, the blue collar worker who is actually doing his or her fill in kind of exercise and opening up their account on the marketplace.
Yeah.
And not as representing the recruitment company, but representing themselves. And you own you own their accounts on the marketplace and then promote and I understand sell to the construction companies in Western European markets and so on. And so my question is, how does the Werk pay these recruitment companies somehow?
Yeah. Yes. Today we cover this cost, and as the community grows, we're going to basically be less reliant on that and more reliant on our own supply.
And you pay only for those blue collar workers that are satisfy your criteria, I understand, right?
Only the ones that end up getting hired.
Success fee. Okay. Okay. So this is one. Next question. So level up. Let's say I am a tiler. Okay, I understand. I'm a tiler. I'm on your work. I'm on your marketplace, and let's say I registered on my own accord just because I heard of you on the internet or from this podcast, whatever. And now you place me in Germany. Okay. Now my contract is 6 months, which is really 6 months contract. I'm happy, but then I keep my relationship with with my current employer in Germany, and next contract for the next 6 months, 1 year, whatever, I sign without your involvement. Possible scenario?
Yeah.
And how do you deal with that? How do you motivate me, the blue collar workers, stay loyal, should I say, to you, or be your partner forever?
So first thing, community, they're still going to be active in it. They're still going to be part of Werk, even if they hop employers. The second thing is, yes, very often workers find a different company after they arrive at a country, but they still need help with the paperwork. They still need somebody to manage it. The company needs somebody to manage it. So we're still going to be an integral part, and that is why we are solving a regulatory issue first, which is all of the paperwork hassle. Nobody has time to deal with it. Nobody has the knowledge how to deal with it and the resources to deal with it. It's very manual heavy, and that's why we are focused on productizing and automating this part. Visas, tax numbers, social security, everything that is in that bunch. And that's what motivates us to outsource the finding of the supply as well to the manual service-based agencies, basically. This is what we find scalable.
Yeah. And for a specific market, you can do this en masse. And that means your costs go down, and your brain power to resolve different situations and issues could be also adding value and adding speed, value, effectiveness of this process, and so on. Plus, you are reliable partner for local authorities as well, right? If you apply for another group of workers from your platform and so on. Okay, interesting. Now, coming back down to business, who is paying and for what? The UI pays as a blue collar worker.
So the worker doesn't pay anything, and that's actually a big change that we are bringing to the market. Many people might not know, but if a worker is based in Ukraine or Uzbekistan or Kazakhstan, they have to pay the recruiter or some middleman for the job opportunity. That often does not exist. That often does not have the salary, the job conditions, the living conditions as were promised. That often ends with the workers' passports being taken away, abused, all of this stuff. So this is a large change that we are bringing as well. Is we don't charge anything from the worker. We are trying to get rid of this gray economy that has been choking the industry basically. And the situation is not due to the construction companies, because the ones who are creating the situation are a necessary evil, basically. Without them, the workers wouldn't be arriving on sites. Without them, the buildings wouldn't be built. And what we see as the opportunity is bring complete change how the industry operates. We give them the tools to do things legally, transparently, faster, while at the same, goal. And this is how we bring this actually meaningful change to the industry. We are only paid by the company. And it will remain like this.
Okay. Expand on that. Is that one-time fee, one-time payment, or is it a regular monthly, like they have for kind of body leasing or outsourcing services in IT, for example, right? What's the arrangement there?
So initially we went into the market with something that is, so to say, a low-hanging fruit, something that they are used to when paying to the recruitment agencies. This is a fee for each individual candidate. So we charge a flat fee before we begin anything, like as a sign-up fee, and then we charge a success fee once the contract has been signed with the worker between the company. But as time goes by, as a product develops, we see that there's an opportunity to move more towards a monthly subscription model for charging the company of using our software to manage the relocation process for the workers. This can be both fully automated or fully used by them, or service-based, for which we're going to be charging more, which is where we basically assist with the process where needed.
Okay, and as a company in Germany, subcontractor, I would be paying a certain amount of fee monthly per hired employee.
So in the future, yes, you would be paying a fee, but for the usage of the software, and the price would depend on how many people you're hiring. So larger companies pay more, obviously, and the smaller SMBs pay less. This is one of the models that we're going to be testing.
Okay. Is the marketplace now in commercial stage already? Like clients are paying, have paid?
Yeah, we have. yeah, we have paying customers from Scandinavian markets, from UK, Estonia, where we are headquartered, and now we got the first customers for Germany, so closing in on that fast. But the customer pain, I mean, this is a known problem that they can't find workers. So it's not the problem of finding the customers who are willing to pay. It's the question for us: do we want to become a traditional recruitment agency that is basically a service, or do we want to build a product that completely turns around the cross-border recruitment process? And we tend to go for the latter one. So we seek opportunities and we seek like perfect target users to understand how and which parts do we automate first, so that we don't need to build a whole product and automations, everything at the same time. You just need to build the one part that solves the biggest problem, the biggest time sink, biggest money sink, biggest lack of knowledge hole for the companies. And you need to find that for that is scalable across Europe, basically. And this is the stage we're in, and we are closing in on that really fast. So.
Martin, still, would be great to hear any range or any figure, for example, for German market, for example, for, I don't know, for a company that employs or hires, let's say five people from you currently. What has this company paid, or what would a average company pay for, I don't know, average contract or average, let's say, group of hired specialists? Let's say 10. Let's say 10. Mm-hmm.
So without going too specific into the numbers that we charge, think of it this way, that it depends on the trade, it depends on the country, so how complex it is, it depends on how many workers are being hired, but it's anywhere between 800 to 1,000 plus euros per worker already today. And yeah, we've been pushing it higher and higher every with every client, and
cool.
We're gonna keep testing.
Honestly, I expected much lower price, as a matter of fact, but they say 800 to 1,000 euro per hired worker. Okay, and this is a one-time one-off payment, right? One-time payment.
Yeah, today this is one-off.
Okay, and you count on you count on scaling. Let's say on scaling in a specific market, so that your overheads go down and more remains as your profit, right, or revenue, let's say. Okay, cool. So that's a pure like a scalability game, right? The more you manage to scale and organize, optimize processes, including legal arrangements in a specific country and so on and so on, your overheads go down and more remain in your accounts.
Yeah, exactly.
Resolving a huge problem.
Yeah, everything we do on the service-based is we always ask the question, how is it going to help us with the product? How is it going to help us discover the product opportunity, what the product has to be? So this is the mentality as well within our team. Our worst fear is that we're going to become a recruitment agency since day one, because none of us wants to be that. So every day we remind ourselves that, and this is what helps us, maintain the laser focus on the product and the opportunity there. And it's massive when you look at localize and sabbatical, deal, remote, everybody doing it for white collar space, right? And nobody yet touching the blue collar aspect of it. So we are really excited to be the first one on the market that is 10 times the white collar size. So
yeah, indeed. On the recruitment side as well, all those companies that are dealing with blue collar or mass recruitment, so to say, are like times 10, 20 and more bigger than permanent placement, as you say. Okay.
Yeah.
Martin, yes, thanks. Let's move on to next round 2, competitors. Are there many, you would say, strong and more advanced right now, resolving the same kind of approach, situation?
So the main competitors we are dealing with, so when you think of what you write on the landing page, or what do the customers think about when you're trying to sell to them, it's these traditional recruitment agencies, like I mentioned, symbiosis with one, 2 markets, and doing everything manually. So this is the so to say gray mass that we are dealing with, and this was also our entry point to the market of being like them to basically be familiar and sell in the traditional industry. The second competitor type, I would say, is actually the workers that are being hired from abroad by the company. we had so many stories of these workers becoming recruiters for that company. So bringing their friends, family, friends of friends, and so on. So a lot of this, phone and the word to mouth. But when you talk about on startup scale or new upcoming company scale, we have Workrise, previously Regup in US market, doing it for oil and energy on a local market.
What's the name of the company?
Workrise. They were previously called Regup, but they are in the oil and energy and renewables industry. But they are local marketplace. And this is where I was getting at, is that most of the competition is local marketplaces, matching local workers to local jobs. There are some in Germany, UK, basically in every market. The problem here is the statistics. So when, I don't know, US is a good example. This is what I read. The latest is that in US by the year 2031, over nearly half of the working population in construction is going to retire. And with every year, less and less people who have been going into the trades. And this is every year drastically reducing the numbers. So there's going to be a crisis. Yes, the local marketplace might be doing really good, but if there's not going to be any local supply, then what the supply is going to be, right? So we are thinking ahead in that sense. And our thesis has also been that labor shortages are a local problem that can be solved with cross-border recruitment. And everything we build, everything we do is to enable that, not just for the company side, but also for the workers. Like I said, there's a massive trust issue there. And we are a worker-first company. We are building for them. We are giving them the opportunities, and we are enabling this movement.
And to the best of my understanding, workers, when they feel that they are treated fairly, and you are a reliable partner, and whatever you announce, the promise and declare, you deliver on that, and then they will be loyal and bring more people to the platform. That's for sure.
It's already happening. I would say 1 in every 6-7 workers is bringing in another worker, and this is without paying any referrals. They just tell about us to their friends, and so the word goes out. But we definitely intend to reward the workers as well for bringing in vetted supply, quality supply, and we intend to build it around the workers, give them opportunities. Like this community that I mentioned before, it's not just going to be about locking in the supply, or creating these crews. It's going to be about giving the workers opportunity to upskill, give them opportunities to change trades, move up, learn from others, not just by questions, by content, by literally asking for help from other tradespeople who are in a better position than them, who are more skilled than them. We are trying to bring the work community together, basically.
By the way, my brother has been working in London construction market, so to say. And I know in the UK, if you want to work officially and so on, you have to go through the different steps as far as your qualification confirmation by a specific body, and you have their cards, a different color, like a site operative of different level. So, for example, for the UK, you would be taking care of that for the workers, I understand, or companies would do that, or you would advise, and then company take over the workers and help them go through this certification processes.
So I'll maybe explain from a Finnish perspective. It's a bit easier. It's that you got the regulatory problem, which is the visas and tax numbers, but you also got the industry requirements, which is site inductions, safety cards, construction ID cards, everything. So we help them, but these are third-party providers. We basically integrate them into our product. Here's where you can book. Here's where you can do it online. Here's where you can keep your card visible to the employers. We do take care of that. And in regards to UK, we actually got the first customer from UK last month, and we already matched the worker for them, who is outside of EU, from India. So that's really cool. But for UK after Brexit, it's much more complex.
Yeah.
So which is good for us because the regulatory problem got much more complicated for the companies. The pain got much more complicated. So yeah, like I said, we are testing multiple markets, try and understand where our resources are best spent today.
Martin, let's move on. Round number 3, quick Q&A here. Just one question. What are your best productivity hacks? Not the tools, but the way you do things. Can you share this?
Marking in calendar deep work periods. So 3-4 hours per day, where you have your headphones on, nobody talks with you, you do your own things. Second is consistent working out. So going to the gym 3 times a week, and very importantly, going to the gym at least the sauna 3 times per week. So I listened to a really good podcast recently from Andrew Huberman from Harvard, and he talked about the study that if you spend a bit more in the sauna, then there comes a period where your thinking becomes better. So it's better time to solve hard problems, and this is what I've been aiming at as well, of just sitting in sauna through a really huge heat and then thinking about the problems that we currently have within the business team or in my personal life. And sauna is definitely playing a huge role. By the way, we have office sauna as well that we do during the day.
Okay, just to make sure I understand. So on the same, to be on the same page. So Andrew Huberman, a podcast that you like, said that 15 minutes in sauna is needed for your brain warm up, and then you are ready to tackle serious issues or questions, so find solutions and so on, right? That's the idea. So you come to sauna, warm up your brain, literally. I understand, and this helps resolve. Wow, interesting.
For me,
has it really helped?
It's amazing. For me, it's amazing, honestly. Even if you don't solve it there, you're gonna start thinking about you're gonna start thinking the right way. And maybe it's the workout. I don't know. Maybe it's the sauna. Maybe it's the workout. And then third thing is sleep. 8 hours a day.
8 hours.
Massive change. Yeah, it's massive change on my productivity, my thought process, my everything, my happiness. Stress levels, it's the easiest thing you can do. And the fourth thing is probably supplements. So I like to test with the different supplements like fish oils, omegas, D vitamins, everything. I guess they're very individual, but for me, if I had to quantify it, it's like a 20% increase in performance, happiness, energy if I take, for example, omegas in large quantities and D vitamins. So I think a lot of these small things. So I try to listen to a lot of podcasts, read, and test all of these small hacks out. Most of them don't work, but if you find 1 or even 2 that do, then it's a massive impact on your life.
Amazing. What you mentioned right now could be enough material for a quick, for a short book or brochure on how to increase your productivity. Nice. Martin, thanks. Let's move on. Round 4, company. So company was almost founded almost 2 years ago, I understand. And the founder team is Martin Kalamees, CEO, Marion Kalakas, Markus Tam, Richard Vahi, right? How many people you have now in the team, and what's the labor division, more or less?
So we have 10 people team now. We're hiring for 8 more positions, so we're looking to grow. Cool. So the founding team is 3. Markus, Mario, and Martin, the triple M or MNM, which you like to joke. But 2020, we started off as a local labor marketplace. So matching local supply to local jobs, which is how we found out that up to 40% of the workers on site are not local, they're migrants. And by the way, this is interesting. When you look at the statistics, they say like 20% something is migrant workers on construction sites. But when you speak to the customers, they say that anywhere from 40 to 55% of the workers are actually from abroad. So there's a huge discrepancy. Great economy, but this number has been steadily increasing every year. So that's how we shifted as well. I'm not sure if it's a pivot, it's rather a focus shift where we stopped working with the local supply. We started working with migrant workers, and that's where we came up with the regulatory problem, where we found out that this is the biggest pain here, and found our true focus. So we are a problem first team, meaning we are not tooth and nail in a solution that we have in our mind. We've been looking at the problem for quite some time and thinking of different solutions and trying different solutions to end up where we are today. But the founder team, so we know each other for 7-8 years with the founders. Same friends group. So funny thing is that in Estonia, everybody knows everybody, and if you don't know that person, then you know somebody who knows that person. So it's just something Estonian, but our backgrounds as well. So my own background is in legal. I did the entire lawyer journey from court to bank to law firm to in-house to doing compliance and audits, basically all the boring stuff, and I hated it, so I escaped. This is how I ended up here, basically. But I did gather up necessary skill sets from all these roles that I'm really happy about, that are relevant. Then we got Marian. Marian is our startup guru. So she was one of the first employees of eAgronom, one of Europe's top agriculture startups, and also traditional sector. So a lot of similarities with ours. Where she played the role of head of HR, operations, finances, leading the financing rounds and expansions to working with expansions to 8 markets. So
legal as well.
Brings in a lot of this knowledge. Legal as well,
yeah.
Somehow. Yeah, so she brings in a lot of that knowledge, and this is basically invaluable to skipping some mistakes that will always be really costly. And then we got Markus. So Markus is our CTO. Markus, first he worked for UK loan industry, leading teams and building ancient banking infrastructure into completely new one, doing some magic there. And then he joined the Silicon Valley startup MoveWeb, or Layer Zero now. Where he built software for the likes of Amazon, Hulu, and basically he's a diamond in tech. And when MoveWeb got acquired, he quit and joined us full time. So this is our story, and funnily enough, all of us have some touch point with construction as well. So my family has been in the business of cross-border recruitment in the blue collar space, so I know how it's done traditionally. Marian used to sell roads, so road infrastructure to Scandinavian markets before she went into startups, and Markus actually managed hundreds of migrant workers on old cruise ships being retrofitted into floating hotels. So
wow, okay.
That's a whole other story, but Markus actually promised that he's never going to go back into construction after that, but here he is, and But on top of that, a lot of our friends are better. They started as construction workers, they are still construction workers, or they have their own construction companies. So basically, it's something that was inevitable for us to end up solving this problem, because the pain was coming in from every single angle. Yeah. Whether you're sitting on a sauna with the friends or playing football, they're going to complain about the life, and the complaints are always the same. You can't find workers, the workers are not performing, and that's what motivated us to basically dig into this so hard as well.
So life itself threw at you this business idea, you could say, right?
You could say, in a sort of way, that we couldn't escape it.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Okay, you were doomed to this success.
Yeah.
Okay. And you just mentioned you're hiring for 8 positions right now in different locations, including Germany, right? How many people are you? I mean, are you remote based, home based, remote, or all in the office? What's the rule of thumb for you right now?
Yeah, so our headquarters are in Estonia, in Old Town. We actually turned an apartment in Old Town into an office that is haunted, and where the elevator crashed and almost killed us. But other than that, we have people working from Finland. So we have a co-working space here. We have people in Poland. And in Estonian office, we got 7 people today. Okay.
You said haunted house?
Yeah, so who knows? It's on the Rataskaivu street where they used to sacrifice cats.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I'll tell you. There's a stand-up or comedian in the UK, Jimmy Carr, and one of his pieces, one of the pieces, like a joke, is like, many people believe in ghosts and haunted houses. I know how to tell whether or not your house is haunted. It is not. Grow up.
Yeah, we love our myths. They used to. There's a well where they used to sacrifice cats and possibly humans. We're not clear on that.
But you should ask Ozzy Osbourne. You should ask Ozzy Osbourne. Maybe he will know more, right?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe.
Interesting. Okay. Let's close this gloomy topic and move on to brighter, let's say. as this is
Yeah.
about brighter future as well. Round 5, last one. Formal F3, funding for the future. Funding by now in 1 or 2 sentences, and what's next in your fundraising destiny as you write it for yourself?
Yeah, so far we raised $1.3 million pre-seed round, led by Change Ventures from Baltic, Fundamental from Germany, and Cocoa, which is VCs turned angels like Carmen and Anthony. And then we have 3 angels, Andres Klinger, founding team of Product Hunt. We have Declan Kelly from Web Summit, and Gonzalo Manrique from Ironhack. And with basically all of them are within the thesis that we are sowing, even before the metas, so they are a perfect match, and the same with the funds. So we are really happy with the team we got together, because everybody has already provided so much value to where we run into challenges, whether it's a 30-minute call to listen and try to unwrap the web of challenge, and or literally helping you work with your metrics. So we're really happy with the round we have put together.
Oh, by the way, Change Ventures, I see they also invested in, they were investors with Nordigan, and there was a recent exit as well, right?
Yeah. Change is doing really good, and they are good.
Okay. 99 Math, I remember. We had also as guests FIMA, co-founder. Cool, interesting. Now, and what's next? This round was closed in May, right? This year, 2022, I understand. Yeah. And this was defined as pre-seed, as I remember, yeah?
A bit earlier than May, actually. We released the news later, but this was a pre-seed round, yeah.
Good, so 10 people, $1.3 million. Now, what are the milestones you hope to reach before next round?
So the next round is very much tied to workers, the supply. So our goal is to increase the available vetted supply that we can offer when we want to move fast and grow the demand and the revenue. So everything is targeting how many partners do we have that can provide vetted supply, how much vetted supply can they provide, how many workers are coming in through referrals, how many people are active in community. So everything is basically focused on the workers, while our sales team is basically working with the supply that we have today, and in the current markets where we have the knowledge to operate in. The next funding round, so we were lucky in that sense that we raised the round before the funding crisis, which means we got nearly 18 months of runway. But what is happening now in the industry is that besides the funding crisis, there's an economic downturn. And the economic downturn for our industry means that projects are going on hold, not being started. And this created, or is going to create, a surplus of supply. So more workers are free, and the workers who are working have more free time. And this is perfect time for us to capture more supply. So the way we're thinking is, if we do end up raising, which might happen soon, we will be using this money for offensive to capture all of that supply that's going to be on the market. And once the market is back up, which it will be, because construction, one of the world's largest industries, 9% of GDP, is definitely going to go back up. So exciting times ahead, and this is what basically motivates us to rush and work hard.
Work hard, nice. So here's, guys, Werk, marketplace for blue collar workers. Construction trades are, I understand, just the first stage, and you kind of admitted this as well. Wish you all the best, and in the difficult times right now, geopolitically and otherwise, for construction industry. Werk as a company in the marketplace got hit with a couple of lemons by life, but what they did, they are going to collect it and make a nice juice lemonade for them to capitalize on and sell and market as soon as the geopolitical winds go down. Okay? Martin, thanks a lot. Been a pleasure. Wish you all the best. Since you come from Estonia, it means you are destined to be a global company pretty soon, when we wish you to become so, and we'll be following your successes as well.
thanks for having me. It was fun talking to you, and talk soon again.
Bye.